Alright, so this will be a live educational commentary on how to play more aggressive and get more kills within Fortnite Battle Royale. Now, this is prioritized towards the solo mode, however, you can obviously apply these strategies and skills towards squads, and I will just sort of be doing a commentary over my game. Alright, so immediately as we were hopping into the game, even when you're in the lobby, you just want to practice your headshots with your pump, for example. Just get in that little bit of practice, because what else? Why not? Or you could check out the bus route. Now, immediately noticing this bus route, I know that there's a few options for playing a sort of medium, sort of aggressive playstyle, right? So let's say you wanted to go to either salty, retail, or greasy. I feel like those are the three best locations to have this playstyle. And for this one, we're gonna go over to greasy, because personally I want to learn this location a little bit better myself. Now, immediately, I would recommend going to Doghouse. I feel like that is the best spot to go for. However, normally it's the closest to the bus route, so I feel like you might have a little bit of competition. Normally, it's best to get the gun first and make sure that you have a gun for your fight. So, it's preference. This is Doghouse right here that I'm looking at. And I think we are going to try and go for it, because this one other opponent doesn't fancy Doghouse right now. Immediately noticing that there are no chests in Doghouse, I'm just gonna look immediately straight away for a gun, and I found one. Perfect. So, it's also very important when you're in the sky to be looking for your enemies. And I'm not saying you look how many and you count how many, but you actually look as to where they are going. This is a key detail that a lot of people overlook, and it's what will get you killed, because you will not know where your enemy's position is. Now immediately I'm going to try and get some materials and use my materials to my advantage for this fight, and try and get in the fight pretty much immediately, because the faster you can get the fight over with, the more you can loot, and I know that you have kills under your belt for this game. Now, I noticed that he landed in this house, so I'm just going to listen for him. Immediately, I do hear that he is not in this house anymore. He's ventured outwards. Now, I also do realize pretty much immediately that was not my only opponent. There is another player inside this house that I will have to be facing. Now, obviously that player was not very aware of what he was doing, so you want to take those kills when you can, and obviously just some more free loot for you. Now, I did see another player with an actual skin as we were gliding down, so I feel like he should be either still alive or he did die, so we just have to be aware of that and look around for that player. Something tells me that he's still alive and he's in that house. Or in this house. Yes, this is the guy that we were looking for. I remember his cape distinctively. So we're just gonna play tag here. When playing tag, you always want to be careful. You want them to be exposing themselves a little bit more than you do yourself. Here's where ping comes into play. If they continue to peek, then you can just use your ping to your advantage. Now, if they're going to continue to hide, I want to play slightly more aggressive. Play a little bit more scared to interact. And listen in for key details like that. The player's trying to rush, things of that nature. Now here, I'm not feeling too confident with the way that this is going in terms of he's just sort of standing there. So here I'm going to play a little bit more on the aggressive and try and hit a few more shots than I did there when you're fighting the guy. Now it's very vital when you're in a situation like that to don't feel too much pressure. Just focus on hitting the player more than I have to somehow miraculously hit him. Think of it more, if I get maybe 1 or 2 more shots on him, he's dead. So just focus on those 2 shots, just aim in and really put all your attention into those last few shots and just hit him down. So I'm going to try and loot up these outer buildings if they have not already been looted, just because I know the circle is going to come in on them. And yeah, that was pretty successful greasy run in my opinion, because we were able to get all 3 of the kids that ended up landing here. And now I'd also like to point out that in the beginning of the game, I thought that there was only 1 kid that landed at greasy. However, you cannot always assume that and stick by what you saw. As you guys saw, for example, in this game, there were actually more than just 1 person that landed in Greasy Grove. So just always be aware of that. Sometimes you will not be just getting what you were thinking you were just going to get in terms of players. Just always be aware of that. Now, a lot of other players also will think, for example, if you go to a place like Tilted Towers, they will think, okay, I landed in Tilted Towers, and if I win this Tilted Towers battle and I want to get high kills, everybody's just going to come to me because I landed in Tilted Towers. And that's not always the case. Once you kill people in Tilted and you rack up, let's say, 5 kills in Tilted Towers, odds are if you don't rotate and you just stay in Tilted, it's not going to get any more exciting than that. So if you are a type of player who wants to play as aggressive as going to Tilted Towers, which I'll make a future video on, go ahead, but know that you're going to have to rotate around. And that's exactly what I'm going to showcase in this gameplay as well, is that you can't just stay in one location if you really want to get a lot of kills. Now this gameplay, I'm going to be focusing on, as I said in the beginning, a sort of mediocre level of aggression. So you're not going to be full-fledged running for everybody, but it's also not about rushing everybody for kills. It's about outplaying people. Think about it more like that. Now, instead of thinking I've got 3 kills, think I outplayed 3 people so far in this game. And what I mean by that is it's not always about, okay, just, oh, I'm going to chase this player, I'm going to chase this player. It's more about you find a player, you're going to try and outplay him and outskill him in a way. And if you can continue to do that, then that'll sort of be key to getting more kills. But obviously, like I said, I'm not going for an insane amount. I'm just going for, let's say, I don't know, 10 kills in this game. And for some of you, that may seem like a very far-off number. However, just stick with what I'm saying in this commentary and sort of just apply it to your own game. Okay, so I feel like a good spot to land normally if the bus route was like that is Greasy Grove, because it has that perfect amount of action. It's not like Tilted Towers where you're going to be struggling for something like a gun, but at the same time, you're not going to be struggling to get kills in the early game. You're going to be able to drop a few if you really truthfully want to go for them. Now, I'd also like to mention that I'll also be showcasing, hopefully if I can find a scenario like this in this gameplay, that you also don't want to take every fight that players come for you. Where you're getting rushed, you don't want to take all those fights, and I'll show you how you can sort of avoid them and when you don't want to take those fights if I get a chance to in this gameplay. Alright, so here I'm just sort of scoping out Tilted. I'm not really looking for like a snipe right now. I'm just looking, using my hunting rifle to see if I can spot any players that are left in Tilted, just so that I have a general idea of where I'm going to be fighting if I want to fight them. So in that little scope, I'm sure you guys could tell I could not find anybody, so I'm just going to sort of go a little bit closer and scope it out from a little bit of a closer angle. Now, I'd also like to say that normally you are not the only person scoping out Tilted, so you always should be aware of that and make sure that you're not going to get rushed from the outskirts. Just like what I was talking about, not the only person looking at the outskirts right now of Tilted. As you guys saw that person hopefully run across up there. Here I'm just going to take a little scan, listen in for footsteps. And yeah, at the same time, I do want to win the game. So these are also for people, that want to try and win the game as well, as I'm sure most of you do. So therefore, I will not play super aggressive. However, at the same time, like I said, we're going for kills. Just not an insane amount. So now I don't have my sniper, so I can't really check where everybody is on the map. I mean, not on the map, in the game. But I feel like this will be, this grenade launcher will be helpful for other fights. So we're gonna take it anyways. So as you guys heard or saw possibly, I don't think we saw it though, we're getting shot at, so I'm going to go ahead and pop this med kit because I do not feel a need to hold it right now, and I don't want to hold it. So we're going to go ahead and pop it for that extra 25 health, and we're going to sort of see what we can do in terms of scoping out where this shot came from. Now that we noticed that there wasn't really any good fights in Tilted, we're going to go ahead and try and get on here a little bit, get on a bit of high ground, sort of scope out those other players. Now, personally, I thought that shot came from behind. Not positive, though. And now I am positive. Okay. Obviously, that snipe did not come from behind, but I do see a little bit of that loot that just dropped. Up here, yes. I believe that was just from just now. And it indeed was. So just like that, you want to, when a player gives it to you, use that little peek that player gave you. You know, he was sort of just sitting there. Use that little peek that he gave you to just sort of have the advantage, just like so. I would also like the chance to just regain my sort of like ammo situation and all that right here. And just sort of get myself a little bit prepared, a little bit more prepared to get back into this fight. Okay, so I think now we're ready. We're actually gonna head towards the circle. I feel like that's a good option because that sniper, I'm not really too thrilled to encounter right now. So that 10 kill mark, you're obviously not always going to meet. However, a lot of people do skip over this, and it's just the straight up opportunity to get some kills in the end game. So we're going to be trying to do that. And this is especially for you people that are sort of lower on kills. You know, you average like maybe 3 to 4 kills in a win/game of solo. And this is just sort of showing you how you can get that extra 3 or 4 more and just win a few more encounters in general and win a few more games. Because that's really all Fortnite is about, is winning the games and, you know, doing well while you're at it. Okay, so immediately, if we can find players, we will take the encounter, because I do want to show you guys that I can get kills here. I don't want to leave you guys in the dark thinking that it was a waste of your time to watch this video. So we're going to go ahead and play a little bit more rushy, if that's a word. Immediately, I'm scoping out this little 1x1. I feel like player wouldn't stick around here. Yeah. Yeah, they didn't. Okay. Now we're gonna go immediately towards that shot. See what we can do. Now, I did see in chat just now somebody got sniped, and it's very important to look at chat, because if somebody were to, for example, get sniped, you want to make sure that you're right on top of that, looking at that. Obviously, if you hear the shot, then you know that the player was in a battle and he did indeed kill somebody, meaning either he's going for the loot or he's sort of playing a little bit more campy at the moment. So here I'm just sort of going to lob grenades in there. Missed one. I do notice that he's just sort of camping it out right in there. So I do want to play a bit of aggression on this player. Okay, so immediately I do hear him. Now, in moments like that where you're starting to miss your shotgun shots, you immediately want to realize, okay, I'm starting to miss my shots. I just sort of have to focus and just relax for a second, you know, and that's exactly what I tried to do, and it worked out in my favor. I was able to hit a few more shots. Now, I do also notice that this player is getting rushed up there right as he was shooting at me, so I'm going to do the same. That player did get a little bit lucky because he was able to not die from that fall immediately. However, you just have to always stay on your toes in those sort of fights. And also in fights like these, where there's another player trying to encounter you. Okay, and it turns out I'm actually getting shot at from like all different angles. Grab this brick. Oh, I can't even hold it. Okay, perfect. So I do also notice now that he does have the high ground, and I'm going to try and regain it if I can build for my life here. I did get him from fall damage there. Now I'm also getting shot at from another player. So you always just have to stay on your toes when you're playing this game and make sure that you're always ready for even more action than you want. Because trust me, there are plenty of scenarios where you get more action than you want. So we're going to start to go towards the circle. I hope I proved to you guys that I can actually show you how to drop a decent amount of kills in a game. Obviously, this is not an amazing game. Like I said, I'm not going for a 20 kill game at Tilted Towers. That wasn't my goal of this. My goal was just to showcase to you that you can drop more kills in a game. Now, what I did there specifically was just making sure that I had the high ground, and not only having the high ground, but just outplaying the players, right? That guy thought, okay, I'm going to try and shoot at the other guy who rushed me from the high ground. No, you want to shoot him down. That's obviously, that's exposing what he thought he had, you know? It's giving him the weakness when he thought he had a strength. Okay. Once again, simply outplayed that player. Even if he were to get the high ground on me, I would obviously just use my RPG to finish him off. Okay, now it's 1v1 here. Hopefully I can clutch it up. Yeah, and this with a 9-kill victory royale, hopefully, unless I get him from fall damage. Oh, okay, that works too. How you doing, brother? Sometimes you'll also get players like that in the finals, in the last game, who's just sort of camping, doing his own little thing. When you get players like that, just be happy that you got a player like that to finish off the game with. And thank you, Raven Flacco, for saying you're a god. So that's just sort of how you get a lot of kills in solo, pretty easily and efficiently.